Are you out of your mind, Jorok? Do you have any idea what the consequences of killing a human are?
I thought it was just another contract, Drax. They can't be that difficult to deal with, right?
Difficult? It's not about the difficulty, you fool. Killing a human is easy. It's what happens afterward that's the real problem.
What do you mean? They're just humans. How bad could it be?
Let me tell you something, kid. Any faction that has tried to kill a human has ended up vanished from the galaxy by humans. They're not just any species. They're united, relentless, and vengeful. You kill one, and you have to deal with the entire race.
But why? Why are they so feared? I've heard stories, but I thought they were just exaggerated.
They're not exaggerated, Jorok. Let me tell you about the Crimson Blade Assassins. They were once the most feared guild in the galaxy. Until they made the mistake of taking a contract to kill an Earthling.
What happened?
They accepted a contract from the Zoltran Empire. They thought it would be easy money. But the moment they killed that Earthling, everything went to hell. The humans retaliated with a fury that no one had ever seen before.
What did they do?
They hunted down every member of the Crimson Blade. It didn't matter where they hid or how well they disguised themselves. The humans found them, and they didn't just kill them. They made examples out of them. It was brutal. No other guild has dared to take a contract against an Earthling since then.
But why? What makes them so different from other species?
It's their unity, Jorok. You kill one Earthling, and you face the wrath of them all. They're not like us, divided by factions and loyalties. They're one species, with one purpose when they're threatened. And they have a long memory.
I've heard the Zoltran Empire tried to conquer Terra once. What happened there?
Ah, the Zoltran Empire. They were powerful, vast, and arrogant. They thought Terra would be just another conquest. But they underestimated the Earthlings. Terra, they discovered, was a death world.
A death world?
Yes. The Earthlings are incredibly resilient. The Zoltrans invaded, and at first, they had the upper hand. But the Earthlings didn't give up. They adapted, fought back with guerrilla tactics, and sabotaged the Zoltran forces. Over 2 decades, they built an underground resistance.
How did they manage to fight back against such a powerful empire?
They're natural hunters, patient and strategic. They reverse-engineered Zoltran technology and used it against them. They turned the tide of the war, slowly but surely.
And they managed to defeat the Zoltran Empire?
Yes. They rallied not just their own people, but also other enslaved species. The rebellion spread like wildfire. The Zoltran Empire collapsed, and the Earthlings led a massive fleet against them, forcing their surrender.
That's incredible. I had no idea they were capable of such feats.
That's why you don't take contracts against Earthlings, Jorok. They're fair and civilized, but once you cross them, they become your worst nightmare.
I understand now. I won't make that mistake again.
Good. Now, let's get back to our drinks and forget about this foolish idea.
Agreed. Thanks, Drax. I needed to hear that.
To wisdom and survival, my friend.
To wisdom and survival. Drax, I still have so many questions. How did the humans manage to unite so effectively?
It's their culture, Jorok. They have a strong sense of identity and solidarity. When faced with an external threat, they put aside their differences and come together. It's something most species can't even comprehend, let alone replicate.
Can you tell me more about the Crimson Blade? How did they operate before they met their downfall?
The Crimson Blade was an elite group of assassins, feared across the galaxy. They were masters of stealth and deception. They could infiltrate the most secure locations and eliminate targets without leaving a trace. But their arrogance was their downfall.
What do you mean?
They believed they were untouchable. They took the contract to kill an Earthling without understanding the full scope of what they were up against. When the humans retaliated, they were caught completely off guard. Their skills and tactics were useless against the sheer determination and unity of the Earthlings.
It's a humbling lesson. No matter how skilled or powerful we think we are, there's always someone out there who can bring us down.
Exactly. That's why it's important to choose your battles wisely. Sometimes, it's better to walk away and live to fight another day.
I'll remember that. But what about the Zoltran Empire? How did they manage to rise to power in the first place?
The Zoltran Empire was built on conquest and subjugation. They were ruthless, using their advanced technology and military might to dominate other species. They ruled through fear, but that fear also made them complacent. They never imagined that a species like the Earthlings could pose a real threat.
It's ironic, isn't it? The very thing they relied on to maintain control ended up being their undoing.
Yes, and it's a lesson we should all take to heart. Power can make you blind to the dangers lurking in the shadows. It's those who remain vigilant and adaptable who survive in the end.
To vigilance and adaptability, then.
To vigilance and adaptability.
Drax, there's something else I've been wondering about. You mentioned that Earthlings dismantled their fleet after the Zoltran Empire's fall. Why would they do that?
Earthlings have a complicated relationship with power. They didn't want to become the very thing they fought against. By dismantling their fleet, they sent a message to the galaxy. They weren't interested in conquest. They wanted peace and cooperation.
That's surprisingly noble. I wouldn't have expected that from such a formidable species.
There's a lot about Earthlings that surprises people. They're not just warriors, they're also thinkers, innovators, and diplomats. They understand the value of balance and harmony.
It sounds like there's a lot we could learn from them.
Indeed. But don't mistake their desire for peace as a sign of weakness. If provoked, they will defend themselves with a ferocity that's unmatched.
I can see that now. It's a good thing you stopped me from making a huge mistake.
That's what I'm here for, kid. To make sure you don't end up on the wrong side of history.
Thanks, Drax. I owe you one.
Just remember what I told you. Stay smart, stay vigilant, and never underestimate your opponents.
I will. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll get to meet an Earthling and learn from them directly.
Just make sure it's on friendly terms. Trust me, you don't want to be on their bad side.
Noted. Here's to new beginnings and wise choices.
To new beginnings and wise choices.
Drax, what about the other species that the Earthlings rallied to their cause? How did they manage to unite so many different groups?
It wasn't easy, Jorok. But the Earthlings have a way of inspiring hope and defiance in others. They showed the other species that it was possible to stand up to the Zoltran Empire and win. Their bravery and determination were contagious.
I suppose when you see someone else fighting for their freedom, it makes you want to do the same.
Exactly. The Earthlings didn't just fight for themselves, they fought for everyone who had suffered under the Zoltran's rule. They became a symbol of resistance and hope.
That's incredible. It takes a special kind of leadership to inspire that kind of unity.
It does. And that's another reason why you should never underestimate them. They understand the power of alliances and the strength that comes from standing together.
It's a lesson we could all benefit from. In a galaxy as vast and diverse as ours, unity is our greatest strength.
Well said, Jorok. Remember that as you move forward in your career. It's not just about personal glory, it's about what you can achieve together.
Thanks, Drax. You've given me a lot to think about.
To unity and strength in numbers.
To unity and strength in numbers. Drax, there's one more thing I want to know. You said the assassin guilds suffer heavy losses when trying to quell the Earthling resistance. How did the Earthlings manage to outsmart some of the best assassins in the galaxy?
The Earthlings are masters of strategy and deception. They anticipated the guild's moves and set traps that played to their strengths. They turned the very tactics of the assassins against them.
But how? The guilds are known for their unpredictability and skill.
True, but the Earthlings are natural hunters. They studied the guilds, learned their patterns, and exploited their weaknesses. They used guerrilla tactics, misinformation, and psychological warfare. By the time the guilds realized what was happening, it was too late.
It's almost hard to believe. But then again, after everything you've told me, it makes sense.
The Earthlings have a saying, know your enemy. They live by it. They don't just fight with brute force, they fight with their minds.
It's a powerful approach. One that we could all learn from.
Indeed. To knowing your enemy and outsmarting them.
To knowing your enemy and outsmarting them. Drax, I've been thinking. If the Earthlings are so formidable, why hasn't anyone tried to make peace with them instead of provoking them?
Some have tried, Jorok. And those who approach them with respect and diplomacy often find the Earthlings to be fair and honorable allies. But it's a two-way street. You have to be willing to treat them as equals.
I see. It's about mutual respect.
Exactly. The Earthlings value honor and integrity. If you approach them with those qualities, you're likely to find common ground.
It sounds like they're a species worth knowing, not just fearing.
You've got the right idea, kid. The galaxy is a big place, and there are always opportunities for alliances and friendships. It's up to us to choose the right path.
To respect and diplomacy.
To respect and diplomacy.
Drax, I can't thank you enough for sharing all this with me. It's changed my perspective entirely.
That's what mentors are for, Jorok. To guide you and help you see the bigger picture.
I'll make sure to remember everything you've told me. And I'll be more cautious about the contracts I take in the future.
Good. You're a smart kid, Jorok. You'll do well if you keep your wits about you and remember the lessons you've learned.
Thanks, Drax. I won't let you down.
To wisdom, survival, and the lessons we learn along the way.
To wisdom, survival, and the lessons we learn along the way. Drax, one last question. If you ever encountered an Earthling, what would you do?
I'd buy them a drink and listen to their stories. There's a lot we can learn from each other if we take the time to understand and respect one another.
That's a good answer. I hope I get the chance to do the same someday.
I'm sure you will, Jorok. Just remember, every encounter is an opportunity to learn and grow. Keep an open mind and a respectful heart.
To learning and growing.
To learning and growing. Well, it's getting late. Time to head out and rest up for tomorrow.
Yeah, I should get some sleep too. Thanks again, Drax. For everything.
Anytime, Jorok. Stay safe out there.
You too, Drax. Good night.
Good night, Jorok. Well, friend, if you're intrigued by tales of resilience and cunning, then you're in for a treat. The Sci-Fi Story Vault has another gripping story just for you. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Click on the video suggested on your screen and dive into another adventure. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and enjoy the journey. Until next time.